It's about 30 degrees. The wind's gusting at about 35 miles per hour. It's a perfect day for football, actually. Hi, I'm Jimmy Allinder, being joined by Phil Hill, and it is Thanksgiving Day here at J. Doyle Field, where East Brunswick will take on Old Bridge in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. Mr. Hill, the wind is really, like we mentioned, is gusting very much. Does that give the advantage to Old Bridge or East Brunswick?
I would think it gives it to Old Bridge. We know Marcus Borden always comes up with something for Old Bridge, regardless of how good the teams are. And I understand he was going to the 4 wide receivers for this game to try to surprise them. He knows that Old Bridge can stop the wishbone. They played a very talented Hillsborough team that was trying to get in the States, knocked them off 49-0, defending their wishbone. So Marcus wanted to come out with something different, and that was passing the ball. But with this wind here, it may play havoc with the passing game.
Exactly. Now, conversely, East Brunswick, of course, has had all kinds of problems defensively. They've given up over 300 yards per game. Old Bridge is a definite running team, as you had mentioned. What can East Brunswick do?
I'll tell you, it's going to be very difficult. Old Bridge is probably playing as well as any team in the state right now. And that includes the teams in the state playoff. They come in averaging 382 yards a game. They've scored 189 points the last 4 games and given up only 19. And if East Brunswick's giving up over 300 yards per game, it could be a tough day for the Bears. You got to hope that perhaps between the seniors and the rest of the Bears, they try to pull this game together to salvage something for the season. It's been a tough season for the Bears. I think the turning point, Jim, may have been the second half of the Cerebral game. I think if they could have hung on and beaten Cerebral, it might have been a different season for this team. After that, I think it just sort of took the heart out of this team, and they've struggled ever since. It's going to be a tough battle for the Bears.
Yeah, emotionally, it's been a terrible year for East Brunswick, and we're going to talk about that during the course of this game. Right now, the seniors and their parents are being introduced. We will make sure that we will mention every one of the seniors before the end of our telecast, but right now we're going to take a break, and we will be back with the kickoff in just a moment. All right, we are back at J. Doyle Field here in East Brunswick for the concluding game of the 1997 season. East Brunswick in green. On the other side of the field, that is Old Bridge in their customary white away uniforms, purple helmets. And we're going to have the coin toss. And as you can see, we have a lot of people coming on the field.
A whole lot of people, seniors, yeah. Jim. And
well,
this is their last hurrah for a lot of them. And so
exactly. And this is for the Route 18 trophy, Battle of Route 18.
Battle of Route 18,
okay.
Right.
We got some information on how this has gone, especially since Marcus Borden and Bob DeMarco, the coach for Old Bridge, have met.
Well, I think, Jim, it's been 10-6 in favor of Old Bridge since Bob DeMarco and Marcus Borden have met over the years. But if you take it further down, East Brunswick actually leads the series by 17-16, with 2 ties. That's, of course, including the Madison Central teams.
Right.
But I'll tell you here, Jim, we talked about Old Bridge coming in here on a roll. As I said, I thought they're playing as fine a ball as anyone in the state of New Jersey. Knocked off a Hillsborough team who was headed for the state playoffs, Jim. Knocked them off 49-0. And I talked to Bob DeMarco several weeks ago, and he's feeling real great about this team. He's just said they had probably one of the toughest schedules in the state. Early on, couldn't catch a break, and now everything's rolling their way.
And they have a nice infusion of youth, which means that they this should serve as a springboard for next year. I've been noticing the coin toss that Old Bridge won and elected to defend, not surprisingly, the goal to our left. The wind is blowing ferociously from left to right.
And I tell you,
so this ought to go in the end zone, I imagine, this kick.
I'll tell you, and if you're Old Bridge, you don't mind putting your defense out there, who's only given up 19 points in the last 4 games, and they know how to defend the wishbone. As I said, they've played several wishbone teams and have actually shut them down. So they're looking for the Bears to come out maybe in their E-bone and to try to shut that down. But as I said, Marcus Borden will come somewhat with the passing game to try to offset the Knights. So it should make for a good one. Again, last game for the seniors, and a lot of them would like to go out with a win, if not being very competitive at least, Jim.
Well, as it stands right now, the one win for East Brunswick, and that being in our last telecast against Edison, this represents the least number of wins for East Brunswick in school history.
Well, if you talk to Marcus Borden, it's just been a terrible year. And the truth of the matter is Marcus saw it coming. Marcus says everything starts in the offseason in the weight rooms. And he had an idea about what kind of team he might have based on what they were doing there. Kids weren't just putting in the time and whatnot. And it makes a difference when the season comes around.
Well, deep for East Brunswick will be Pleasant, Merrigan, and let's see who else we have back there. Kevin Shull. Pleasant is number 20. Ball rolls off the tee.
Okay.
Kicking off is number 6, Postel, Malcolm Postel.
Okay, and Malcolm Postel is, I'm going to talk about him. High praise from Bob DeMarco, who's very cautious with praise, but just thinks the kid is an outstanding player. I'll tell you a little bit more later.
Kind of reminds me of Kevin Shanley, 6'2", 180, just a sophomore. Picked up by Shull. He's going to go right up the middle and brought down at about the 23-yard line. That is where the Bears will start off.
Well, and I tell you, if you're DeMarco, maybe you have some inkling that the Bears are going to pass. They won the toss, elected to kick off, but took the win, Jim. So therefore, the Bears will, if they're going to pass, they're going to have to be throwing into that win. So
right.
Maybe DeMarco has some idea what Borden plans on doing.
Cosentino will be at quarterback for East Brunswick. Now we have a shift here. This looks like a passing situation for East Brunswick. No, pitch to Pleasant. Hits to the right side, gets some yards. He's out there and is good for a gain of about 8 on that
Okay,
play.
I'll tell you, nice run by Pleasant. Of course, Pleasant, a junior, will be back next year, and understand he's got a younger brother on the freshman team that may be up here to be able to help the Bears as well.
8-yard gain on the play. Making it 2nd and 2 for the East Brunswick Bears. It is Thanksgiving today. Cosentino will pass. Ball is caught, and it's good enough for a first down. American grabs it.
And I'll tell you, they again, mixing things up is trying to keep this Old Bridge team off balance is what Marcus Borden is going to try to do. I don't think he can play power ball with them, so he's just got to try to keep them off balance, give them the unexpected.
I'll try to get those names of the offensive line for you. Tom Crail was over top of center. First down for East Brunswick. Ball's on the 36-yard line. Pleasant, he's racked up in the middle.
I'll tell you, he smacked into Costantino on the handoff there. Not a clean handoff. That slowed him down, and the Knights were right there to stop him.
So there will be no gain on the play. Second and 10.
Second and 10. Winds blowing from east to west right now, Jim, and you might look for a pass out to this left-hand side over here.
I'm amazed at any pass, frankly. This is a tough win. Screen pass.
That's John Mullane.
Mullane has it and gets good yardage. Oh, it looks to be close to a first down. Depends, probably be a measurement here. And that was a well-designed play.
Screen pass there. John Mullane, just a sophomore. John has been in the backfield probably the last 3 games for the Bears, and Marcus said he wanted some speed back there, and thus put Mullane back there. And John's been doing a fairly good job as he comes to the sideline right now.
All right, they say he was stopped at about the 45, so that leaves it about a half yard short of a first down. Looks like Pleasant is the lone back. Cosentino caught behind the line of scrimmage.
Swarmed under.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'll tell you.
You wonder with that half yard, why not go straight up the pipe, but looks to be very quick, that team, that defense.
Looked like Tim Newen on the tackle there, slamming Costantino to the ground.
Yeah. We have a number 61 for East Brunswick.
That's Alexander.
It is? Okay. So your linemen are Crail at center, Alexander and Mineta are your guards, and David Oliver and Chris Gamboa the tackles. And Costantino will call a timeout.
Okay, saw something they didn't like.
Perhaps a blitz package.
Well, it's fourth down, Jim, which is...
Yeah, it's a fourth down.
So, Costantino, of course, has the ability to punt himself. But considering the wind and you think they would just go right into punt formation.
Yeah, exactly.
And Scholl is back there now to do the punting. And the ever dangerous Malcolm Postel, number 6 back for the Old Bridge Knights. And this kid is a burner, Jim.
Just a sophomore.
It's a fake, Jim.
And it didn't fool anybody.
It didn't fool anyone, Jim. I'll tell you, surprised. The Bears have nothing to lose at this juncture,
right.
So they want to pull out all the stops. Nevertheless, still sort of a surprise. Still early in the game to give Old Bridge this type of field position, but it's a gamble.
Number 13, Rosa, was one of the tacklers for Old Bridge. All right, so we'll get an opportunity to see this wishbone in action.
With Dan Lanzafama. Seems like we've been saying that name for about umpteen years. Lanzafama, of course, several brothers at quarterback for the Knights as well.
And doesn't get too much.
I'll tell you, nice job by the Bears there.
Borden is claiming that there was a fumble on the play.
And that's John Barrett. John Barrett, a super soph himself, starred for the Knights as a freshman last year and is probably leads the team in scoring this year. 2 solid backs for the Knights. 2 sophomore backs for the Knights.
2nd and 10 for Old Bridge. And he gets around, gets good yardage.
I'll tell you.
Almost breaks it.
I'll tell you, fine run by Dan Lanzafama out of that wishbone. The option reading it perfectly. If the end commits, he steps up, and that's exactly what happened.
Brought down by Leota, but not after Lanzafama did get the first down. Brings it down to the 27-yard line where the Knights will start off once again. Give is up the middle for good yardage. Is that Barrett?
I believe that's John Barrett once again, and he'll just pound it at you, Jim. As again, we saw him last year as a freshman, a very tough kid. And
you know, interesting, Phil. East Brunswick's freshman team beat this Old Bridge team last year, did they not?
That's for sure.
So I'll tell you what. After looking at some of these sophomores, that's remarkable. They're big and they're tough. Lanzafama look like he's going to pass.
Oh!
Batted.
Oh, I'll tell
away.
you. Zukas, I believe, almost would come on up with the interception.
Well, is that number 60?
Let's see.
He is listed as Corsal.
Is that Corsal, the sophomore?
Yeah.
Chris Corsal.
Corsal is 5'10", 202 pounds, junior.
And he's a player, Jim. He's just a sophomore.
Well,
Marcus Borden has put him in there. He's been in there for several games.
They got him listed as a junior.
I believe Corsal's a sophomore.
Well, I believe you more than the program, to be honest. Making it 3rd and 4, let's call it. And this is the ever-dangerous wishbone. Up the pipe, given. And I think they stopped him.
And a nice job. And that's what you got to do if you're going to stop Malcolm Postel. Stop him before he gets started. Because if he gets started, Jim, he's gone. And you mentioned last year the freshman team beating team with Postel on it. That's basically because they stopped him before he got started. Of course,
timeout, Old Bridge.
Of course, Old Bridge had some of the other younger kids playing up at varsity level, so not a true read of what freshman team had to deal with totally.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Old Bridge team, and I'll tell you what, I see a lot of sophomores and juniors.
Well, if you look at the Bears, you got a lot of sophomores on that defense as well. You're talking about Corio. You're talking about Teddy Nemick, Batwash. A lot of sophomores that are playing.
Right.
Corsal, Mullane. And I tell you, Marcus is between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, you don't give up on your seniors. You certainly don't want to do that, but you got to know at some point in time, you got to start developing these younger players. And thus, you see a number of sophomores that are in there.
And this crowd has been late arriving, but it is pretty representative here today, as Thanksgiving Day crowds normally are. No score if you just joined us. It's very difficult to see the clock. It looks like about 6:50 left to go in the first quarter. Fourth down, Lanza-Fama gives it right up the middle, and Barrett looks to have the first down. Yes, he does. Nothing fancy there, just some straight-ahead blocking.
And just power running there. And John Barrett, who scored 4 touchdowns against Hillsborough.
That was really a marquee game for them, was it not?
That was the game that said everything. You're talking about Cross County, a game against a championship team there, and they pounded them.
Lanza-Fama holding it, keeps it himself. Now he pitches to Postel, who scoots down the sideline and is knocked out of bounds just before he gets into the end zone.
And Jim, you were mentioning some names of the Old Bridge players and whatnot, who he reminds you of and all that stuff.
Kevin Shanley.
Can you imagine Bob DeMarco several weeks saying, while scouting the Perth Amboy East Brunswick game, saying this kid could be the best back he's ever coached?
No, that's saying a lot.
That's saying a whole lot. And I don't know if that could meant right now or has the potential. I don't know that it makes much difference.
Well, he certainly has the physique, that's for sure. And this, you can see the size, speed. All right, we wait a moment here. Could be an equipment problem. And we will start off. Ball looks to be about on the 3-yard line. First down for the Knights. Give is to Barrett, who is in the end zone for a touchdown. And Old Bridge jumps out to a 6-0 lead.
And John Barrett, who led the Knights in scoring last year, I'm sure is leading the Knights in scoring this year. Scores is in the backfield, and yet may not be the best back on the field for the Knights. Unbelievable.
That's something. You say Barrett led Old Bridge in scoring last year?
I believe he did.
As a freshman?
As a freshman. As a freshman.
That's, you don't see freshmen playing too often. Kick is up. And it is good.
And Lanza-Fama, 30 consecutive PATs, Jim.
Okay.
Point after attempts, 30 consecutive ones, so he's been rather consistent.
And that score comes with, I believe, 5 minutes and 16 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Extra point is good, and Old Bridge jumps out to a 7-0 lead. And they're going to try to take advantage of this win situation as long as they can.
Well, again, for the Knights, they won't throw the ball. You're not going to see them throw the ball. You may see maybe 3 times this game, if any. They're going to run that wishbone. So the wind really is not as much of a factor for them as it is for the Bears. They have the wind at their back there right now, but I don't think they'll even use it, Jim.
Okay.
The Bears, on the other hand, for this first half, have to throw into that wind.
Alrighty, here's the kickoff again. Postel rams it into the end zone. Not surprising. I'm surprised he didn't do that the first time.
Well, he's just quite an athlete. Jim, here's the scary thing is Malcolm Postel may be a better baseball player than he is a football player. I've watched this young fella for years in all-star play, and he's just a sensational pitcher. And fielder.
Okay.
And batter. Tremendous batter.
Well, you see him as a defensive back as well. They are big and they are quick. I can already see that the Old Bridge line has East Brunswick beaten in terms of quickness. They are behind that line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. Pass by Cosentino. No, he fake pumps it. Complete to Shull, who moves forward for another couple of yards, and that's a good pass by Cosentino.
A good job of improvising by Cosentino. A fake pump, did a pump there, then came up and threw a bullet to Shull over the middle there.
Phil, watching Cosentino's arm is not something we haven't seen this year. I think for a large part he's been victimized by a lot of passes being dropped this year, things along those lines. He does look like, I mean, he's the legitimate quarterback.
I'll give it to you a lot straighter after this play.
He will pass again, and that ball takes off. Merrigan.
To give it to you a lot straighter, just to tell you what Marcus Borden said is that Cosentino, not that he's victimized by the team that he's on right now, but if he were with the team such as Hughes and Forte were, he'd be just as good.
Yeah.
So that's saying a whole lot. He's just a lot of drop passes this year, which probably set the Bears back as well.
Exactly.
And but he clearly has the ability to be a real good one.
Well, with the incomplete pass, it makes it 2nd and 10, and regardless of the win, it looks like they're going to throw. Pleasant is the recipient of that carry and is knocked right at the line of scrimmage for no gain, and he looks a little shaken up.
And that's
I'm sorry.
That's Barrett that's blown in there. That's slammed Pleasant to the ground.
So now we have a 3rd and, well, that was about a loss of a yard on the play. 7-0 Old Bridge with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Old Bridge looks to be coming. A flare to, who is that? We'll see who that is as he gets up. Number 38. O'Mara? Not quite sure. I think it's Brian O'Mara, number 38, who caught that pass. It's good for about a 7-yard gain, makes it 4th and 4. And Phil, with this win, I would think that punting would be fruitless. Honestly, I don't think the ball's going to go too far, so East Brunswick will go for the 4th down, even though it's on their side of the field.
And look for another quick pass here, Jim.
Here they come. Here they come. Well, and a pass to Scholl falls incomplete.
I'll tell you, not quite quick enough with the Knights blowing in there, Jim.
And that was not an accurate pass either. So the Knights will take over 1st down on East Brunswick's 48-yard line.
And once again, Tim New for the Knights blown in there. He's defensive end, 6'2", 210 pounds.
Well, East Brunswick had that play snaked out, but Cosentino did not connect on the pass. Scholl was open.
And you can expect the Knights to stick with that wishbone. We got a player for the Bears coming on a little late here.
That is Bromowitz. Barrett lunges forward for about 2 yards.
And what they're doing, Jim, is they'll hit you Barrett right up in that middle there. And once you start respecting his initial thrust and whatnot, then they'll come to the outside with Lanza family either keeping or pitching to Postel.
Barrett, as we said, got 2 yards on the play, so it's 2nd and 8. Postel with it, and he's off to the races. Nobody is going to catch him. And he'll go in for the touchdown. A 46-yard run.
A rather effortless 46-yard run by Postel.
Really, and you know, it was more the blocking that made it for Postel that time.
But when you look at the young fella, you see what DeMarco's talking about. There are a lot of players with speed. He's got that tilt, though, Jim. He's got that lean when he's running. That tells you that he's a player, not just flat-out speed like some players have.
The 46-yard touchdown run by Postel makes it 13-0 with the extra point by Lanzafama. You say he has a streak going, and he's going to be tested today, but nonetheless comes through on that one.
31 consecutive PATs.
I would like to see how he's going to do if Old Bridge scores on this side of the field, on the left side of the field. Yeah.
They'll probably go for the 2, and the streak will still be intact.
Well, Lanzafama stands 5'9", 155. He is a senior, so they will be losing him.
Well, we saw him, Jim, as a sophomore come in and play. I think his brother had gotten injured, and they brought him in, and this young fellow's been playing ever since.
Okay. 14-0 is the score if you just joined us. Old Bridge striking twice on a Barrett 3-yard run at 5:16 to make it 7-0, and now Postel 46 yards at 3:41, 14-0 Old Bridge.
And if you're the Bear fans and the Bears, what you're hoping is that, hey, we get a battle here. Old Bridge has come in heavily favored years before, but the Bears have somehow come out and battled them on even terms, and sort of hoping for that today.
Well, Pleasant and Shull look at each other as the ball falls into the end zone.
A little miscommunication, Jim.
Yeah. Now, so East Brunswick will start out on the 20-yard line. Phil, you talked about the remorse that Marcus Borden has about this year, that he has sensed that this team did not have the same commitment that he's seen in the past. I don't know. I know that the East Brunswick fans have been very disappointed by this season, thinking that this team has the same horses that it has, but the fact of the matter is they don't.
Jim, you said it as directly as you possibly can say. I'll try to expound on that a little bit.
Costantino will pass, and that's the screen set up for Pleasant, but caught nicely. We got a flag on the play, Phil. Ref official.
And it's usually where it's holding, Jim. They threw it early while Costantino was trying to set up the screen.
All right, officials will, yes, call holding on East Brunswick.
Jim, you talked about the Bears not having horses, and anybody who's watched this team this year might as well face up to the fact they simply don't have the horses. They got a lot of ponies, but they need to be developed. And Marcus knows that, and the fan that has been around knows it. They have had some guys who have played their heart out every game. You take Ryan Mineta. I mean, here's a kid who's played with a dislocated shoulder for 3 games, and he comes to play every time he's out there. Maybe too few Brian Minetas, but they just don't have the horses.
All right, East Brunswick spread out wide. Ball is back on the 10-yard line. Still first down off that holding penalty. Costantino gives it to Pleasant, who is going to try to skirt right end, excuse me. Gets decent yards out to about the 19-yard line. Sorry about that's the 14-yard line.
And the first person to come up is John DeMarco, 5'9", 145-pound sophomore. I wonder, Jim.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if that is.
It's a good question. Is there any relationship?
There has been a string of DeMarcos that come through Old Bridge through the years, and I've always asked the question to Bob, you know, are you related? And he said no. So, but then
who knows?
Yeah. I would think with that size, that knowing the size of Bob DeMarco, that he's not related. That is given to Shull, who has some good room and could have got more if that block had been thrown out there.
He may have the first down, though, Jim.
No, he's got another 10 yards to go.
You're right. I'm looking at the wrong stick.
Gain of about 6 on the play, making it 3rd and 10 yards to go. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. Score is Old Bridge 14, East Brunswick nothing. Triple trips to the left for East Brunswick. Costantino looks there, and that ball just sort of flies. And that is a live ball. Will be down on the 1-yard line. Good thing that Pleasant had the heads up to get on that ball.
Wow.
And East Brunswick, as if they haven't had their problems already, is going to be faced with kicking on the 1-yard line.
You talked about how difficult it's going to be kicking in the wind. Old Bridge could possibly get this ball inside their 40-yard line, to probably 35-yard line.
I would think even more so. Old Bridge is going to call timeout. Bob DeMarco uses his timeouts extremely well.
Well, you got to wonder if he's talking. Maybe discussion is, do we really want to go after it right here, or do we want to take the field position?
He senses that this is a great opportunity to capitalize on the situation if they know what they're doing. and I know that there's going to be a strategy involved. I would think, Phil, that they would not go after this punt simply because that puts them at risk at roughing the kicker.
Okay.
They're just going to let the elements take care of themselves. I don't see a great kick coming here from Shull. Not that he can't kick, it's just that the wind is blowing so hard. And I think the fans will get an opportunity to see how
maybe that's what that timeout is for us not to do anything stupid.
Right.
You know, we want our return on, and but Shull's got his back to the end zone there.
And with not a lot of room to work with.
And one step out, or
this is a 4th down, and you got to watch that Shull does not step on that end line.
And you got Postel at the 33 right now.
I have a feeling he'll be coming up. Snap. Shull gets off a roller, and they're not even going to.
Wow. I'll tell you.
I'm shocked at that.
I'll tell you, surprising. I mean, they apparently listened to their marching orders, which was to let the ball go.
Okay.
But
under the circumstance, that was a good kick.
But both Barrett and Postel had time enough to pick up that ball if they wanted to.
So the Knights will take over 1st down on the East Brunswick 38-yard line. They've had excellent field position each possession. Lanzafama is the quarterback. Pitches to Postel. This kind of looks like the play that they scored on. Cuts in and gets about 11 yards on that play.
And American coming up to slow him down. But
1st down.
Yeah, you see the ability there, Jim. They're going to run that ball.
Same wishbone setup as before. This time they're going to go to the right, looks like. Let's see, that's a different number we have. Number 48. Bill Maller, number 48 on that carry.
He's just a sophomore, Jim.
Check that, that's number 49, Mike Keller. He's a senior. That was Keller on the carry.
Okay.
Gain of 5. And we're winding down here in the 1st quarter, 30 seconds left. Pitch to the right. Barrett, and he is dragged down on about the 15-yard line.
And
a flag goes down.
I tell you.
That looked like a face mask, just the way Barrett went down.
Well, yeah, Tommy McCloskey, the sophomore, coming up along with Zukas to make the tackle.
And face mask it is.
Wow.
So that'll be half the distance. Ball is resting right now on the 16-yard line, so they should bring it down to about the 8. And once again, it is 1st and goal for the Old Bridge Knights. Again, this is the concluding game for both teams. Old Bridge coming into this game 4-4, and quite frankly, I can't believe it. 4-4.
4-4. Well, they opened up with Holy Cross, which was
Well, they barely lost to Woodbridge. We'll talk about that in a second. Ball's on the 8, 1st and goal. And it looks like the clock was running after that penalty. So that is the end of the 1st quarter of play. 14-0 Old Bridge. Phil, you were mentioning about Old Bridge's record, quite deceptive. I'm not sure what the score of the the Woodbridge game was, but it was something like, it was in overtime, and it was like 50-48, something along those lines.
Right, one of those sensational
And
games.
I heard more than one person tell me that was the best high school game they ever saw.
It had to be a great game, no matter how you look at it, Jim. And
Woodbridge will be meeting J.P. Stevens next Saturday, not this Saturday, for the Central Jersey Group 4 Championship.
Well, Jim, it is senior day, and we weren't able to get them on camera with parents and whatnot. We do want to mention those seniors, though, before they leave.
Sure.
One guy I want to mention, it's really a shame, his last game, Adam Petty, not able to play. Awful nice kid, voted by his schoolmates as homecoming king. a very likable guy for the Bears and whatnot, and injured his collarbone and is not able to play his last varsity game, and that has the pain somewhat.
Right. But disappointing season for Adam. I remember coming into the year, he had that broken hand and was limited just the entire year.
It's very tough for him, but a game player for all 3 years that he played for the Bears here, and we wish him well. But we'll be talking about some of the other seniors as well.
And feel free to jump in. I know you've got the list there. Anytime you want to mention some of the seniors.
Okay, and
we're set to go here now. It's a first down and goal on the 8-yard line for the Knights. They are now going against the wind. Let's see if this changes things.
Awful lot of field on this left-hand side here.
Yes, indeed. Lanzafame with a long count. He does come, pitches to Postel, who's just going to outrun everybody into the end zone.
On the left-hand side.
For a touchdown. And you saw the athleticism of that sophomore there.
Postel just makes it look too easy. I don't think it's even cockiness or whatnot. He's just in control of his body, and knew no one could catch him there.
Well, look, Lanzafame is going to try it, Phil. So this will test his streak. 31 and counting. You know, I'll tell you what, for a high school athlete, that's great.
That's great. That's darn good.
It is.
Everything has to be together. Holder, snap, everything.
Snap is down, and he boots it through. You could wait a minute. No.
No good?
The wind just took it and just held it right up.
And, Jim, you called it. The streak is snapped.
So the score remains Old Bridge 20, East Brunswick nothing.
I'll tell you, looking at the Lanzafame missed that. I tell you, one of the best ways to turn a team around is with special teams, Jim.
Okay.
And
well, we've seen that in the
Bears
past.
have Chris Yanazzo, who is an excellent kicker right now and can only get better as the years go on. And if they really wanted to start things around, they got to develop that. Chris working over the summer and early with the holder and snapper and whatnot,
right,
and making that almost a sure thing, because he's going to be able to kick some decent field goals as well. That can help turn a team around. You put that together with some of the young bucks they have, and the Bears could be tough.
Well, you mentioned the weight room.
Well, the guys,
it's going to start in the weight room this winter too.
Jim, it's about work. It's about commitment and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus has had more kids quit this year. I come from that school where my father says if you start something,
right,
whether you like it or not, you finish it.
Gathered in by Merrigan on about his 25-yard line, advances it up to about the 30-yard line.
But there's been more kids that have quit for any number of reasons, some peculiar ones. But
Phil, I got to interrupt you. That kick by Postel was outstanding. That went down to the 15-yard line.
With the wind blowing.
Against this wind, believe me, that was a great kick. And for East Brunswick to be starting on their own 31-yard line says a lot about Postel's ability. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were talking about
just talking about commitment and whatnot. Probably speaking to the younger players more than anything, Jim, at this juncture.
All righty. Cosentino now with the win is going to definitely be in a shotgun. And here comes Old Bridge. Quick pass dropped. Was intended for Pisapia. Is that pronounced that right?
Yeah.
Pisapia?
We've chopped it up all year, Jim.
Okay.
No, you straighten it out now.
Pisapia?
Yeah. Anthony, number 4, he's a senior and has given some quality time to this Bear offense as well, Jim.
That incomplete pass makes it 2nd and 10. We're just underway here in the second quarter. Old Bridge comfortably ahead, 20-0. Center snap, and that ball was fired by Cosentino to Scholl. It's complete.
Scholl hung on to it.
Right.
Didn't pick up much, but
he gets about 5 on it. Makes it 3rd and 5. Ball's on the 35-yard line. You know, the long pass is going to be in jeopardy, Phil, simply because it's going to be very difficult to control the distance. The wind is just going to take the pass, so we'll have to see how that works. But we do have 3 wide receivers split. Cosentino, ball is batted in the air and falls incomplete. So Old Bridge doing the job defensively, and that makes it 4th down. And it looks like East Brunswick will punt.
I think that was Craig McCoy, the defensive tackle, that came in and knocked that ball up.
Right.
Doing a fine job defensively.
And the difficulty for Cosentino is that he doesn't get all that much time to throw the ball.
They're blowing in there, Jim. They know if he's back there and whatnot, they're going to put the pressure on him.
Postel and Barrett will be deep, and they're going to have to go deep because this ball is going to take off if they can get the center snap. Now Cosentino will come out. Not sure what that's all about. Low snap. Nonetheless, nice kick by Shull. And Postel will take it. Goes to his left, right.
Mercy.
And gets around another tackler. Mercy. And one more. Cosentino does make the tackle.
I'll tell you, fine tackle there, too.
Right.
You got 2 players over there, Cosentino and...
He just blew by that whole right side and advances the ball all the way down to the 28-yard line, and the Knights will once again start again in East Brunswick territory.
There's another player in on a tackle, a little injured right now, trying to pick up his number. I think that was Shull.
Okay. And this relentless attack continues. Ball was given to Barrett, who's been somewhat of a workhorse back.
I'll tell you, sort of a frightful thought for the opponents for the next couple years, that you're going to have to face both Barrett and Postel for the next couple years, and they can only get stronger.
It should be interesting to see Old Bridge, Phil. You know, they've opened up the last couple of years against Holy Cross, which is a parochial South Jersey power. Wonder if that's going to be the case next year. Pitches to Postel, gets a great block there by number 49, springs him loose for yardage that should be good enough for the 1st down. Ball advanced to about the 17-yard line. It'll be once again a 1st down for the Knights.
And Jim, not a bad crowd for Thanksgiving here.
Well, you know, those traditionally are the biggest crowds anyway.
Well,
so
nice. Look at the Old Bridge.
Kind of a homecoming of sorts. Everybody home from college. Lanzafama keeps it himself and looks to take it in. He waltzes in it to the end zone.
And Jim, they just picked up where they left up. Each Barrett, Lanzafama, and Postel had over 100 yards against Hillsborough. And you can see they're picking up Lanzafama, just doing a fantastic job of reading right here. And all of them had speed. All of them have speed, Jim.
So in quick fashion, Old Bridge is up 26-0, and let's see if they're going to go for 2 now. Indeed they will. Looks like they'll abandon that extra point kick. Give is pitched to Barrett, who will have no trouble whatsoever getting into the end zone. I'll tell you what, Phil, they're making it too easy here.
Well, they're a very talented team who has played a very tough schedule, as have the Bears, and this is their state playoff game. They didn't make the states. They're letting everything out here, you know, showing the fans that have come home for Thanksgiving and whatnot. What a quality team they are.
They have scored 4 touchdowns in a little over 14 minutes of play. And quite frankly, they could call off the horses here.
They could call off the horses. I'm afraid they won't, Jim. As you say, the horses they have are young horses, so who are you going to put in?
A lot of bodies on that side of the field.
Again, you just hope the Bears, despite the score, battle.
Well, that's what you need. That's what you're going to be looking at. The Knights with Postel kicking, and let's watch again this kick. This is a fierce wind. If you can see the flags there on the far side, and a little floater this time. It's almost like an onside.
Wow.
Fortunately, is that Merrigan? No. Who fell on that? Number 38, that's once again number 38 for East Brunswick. Brian O'Mara, a the senior, 5'11", 171.
I'll tell you, the senior O'Mara's been in on several plays already.
So the Bear offense, which has had some success, but just as they seem to get things going, well, and the wind whips up again, it's got to be gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour down there. They give up the middle.
I think that's to the fullback to
Pleasant, perhaps?
McLean. Let's see.
Nope. Is the Leota? No, that is Brad Pleasant,
It's
number
Brad
20.
Pleasant, yeah, going up the middle there, not able to pick up anything.
Yeah, well, take a look at the yards. He gets about 3.
Oh, well, it's deceiving. Looked like he was stopped right at the pile there. All right, might we expect a little trickery here?
You got a lot of people split.
Fake pump.
Costantino has a lot
down
of room.
the field. Oh, mercy.
And right through Scholl's arms. And there you have it, Phil. I'm telling you.
Well, Scholl's arm, but you got to give Kevin Semino, the defensive back, number 4, coming in there at the last minute. He did get a hand in there.
Okay.
Scholl had a hand on it too, but Semino was there doing a good job defensively. Costantino did a nice pump again, had him open, and we thought the ball was going to get there.
Well, it was there with velocity. And an incompleted pass makes it 3rd and 7. Looks like about the same formation. A lot of people split wide to the left.
A lateral.
Pleasant, and advances it for about 3 yards, making it 4th and let's call it 5. No doubt East Brunswick will go for it. Well, I don't know about that.
Well, and you might think that the Bears are just not playing well offensively. The fact is, this Old Bridge team has we hear so much about their offense, but they have a darn good defense.
Yes,
like I said, they've only given up 19 points in the last 4 games against some very quality opponents. Boy, you hate to see Postel going back there.
Quick pass, complete to Scholl. Gets around one tackler, and that'll be good for a 1st down. Actually, it was Postel. Let's mention Postel missed the tackle.
Right. And thanks for goodness for number 44, Hassan Sayed, who linebacker who came back to make the tackle. Otherwise, Scholl had a chance to go.
So that pass completion is good for a 1st down. Kevin Scholl seems to be one of the primary receivers this afternoon.
Okay, we got 3 sprint to the right, Jim. Trips to the right.
Quick pass to Scholl's. Got 3 blockers.
He's passing off
He's lifting it out there. American's out there.
Oh, yes!
And it works.
I'll tell you.
You know, the official almost got
in the way, Jim. No doubt about it.
All righty.
Well, Jim, I said about time for a little trickery, and they came up with it there. And Costantino stepping back and throwing back to Scholl, who then threw it downfield to Merrigan.
And that touchdown is good for 40 yards.
And that's what I'm talking about fighting back, Jim.
Right.
You know,
That's
no
what you
matter
want to
what,
see.
you want to see something, really. And that's what the fans want to see. They probably can deal with a loss, but not laying down. And the Bears have shown some fire here.
So the score now 28-6. East Brunswick going for the extra point.
They're going for 2. Scholl's kicking.
What's going on here?
No, nothing to kick.
No tee.
That's a fake. It's a fake.
I see.
It's a fake.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know.
Nothing like a little spice
maybe it's
right
not,
there.
Though. Marcus is snapping his head because he thought it was open. I think that was a fake play. That Scholl was to pretend that,
I think you're right.
I have no tee, I can't kick. Where is it? Where is it? Then he goes out to the sidelines, and Costantino was supposed to hit him.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil, if it wasn't a fake,
he did a good
it's
job.
a good plan.
Better use it next time.
You know, that official almost caused Merrigan to
no doubt about it.
miss that pass.
But,
he's got to get out of the way.
Well, the officials are part of the field, I'll tell you. And but fortunately, he just did get out of the way. But you're right. He almost held things up.
And that is Mr. Ken Totten, who was the head linesman in the white cap.
Okay.
I don't think he was the one that was in the way.
However, Jim, now.
Mr. Totten does a lot of the games for my Monroe Wolverine team that I do the announcing for, and I get to talk to him. He's a real fine receiver.
You're just a busy fellow, man.
Actually, that play that just completed, that was one of the prime plays that the Pee Wee team used and worked, and this worked very well for East Brunswick.
Again, when your power stuff's not working, you got to come up with something to throw them off balance. And the trick play, particularly for a heavy pursuing team, defensive team, is one of the things that you can do. And the Bears executed it very well.
Excuse me, for East Brunswick. By the way, Phil, we just got word from our coaching staff up here in the booth that was a planned play, that extra point attempt.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We try anything here. That score coming with 7 minutes and 23 seconds left in the first half. And a low bounding kick, good one. And are they blowing the whistle? Yes, they are. Don't know what happened here.
Yeah. And you may be wondering, Scholl's doing all the kicking off. Where's Yanazo? Yanazo re-injured a shoulder.
Right.
Therefore, he's not kicking. And unfortunately, it's going to keep the young fella, a tremendous wrestler, Jim. You've seen him wrestle last year.
Excellent wrestler.
As a freshman. And he's going to sit out this year to try to get that shoulder better.
Okay.
And I give him and his family a lot of credit. There's so many times the kids want to go on and play despite injuries and whatnot, and they do themselves damage when the thing is to sit out, strengthen it, and get it correct so you can be at peak performance and whatnot. And that's what Chris is doing.
Okay, and we send our best to Yanazo. The offside was the call against East Brunswick, so they'll try once again. And now's another whistle, and I think they're going to call offside on Old Bridge. Stepped across that 45-yard line, so I think we're going to be back to where we started. That is the call.
And Jim, while we got a little downtime, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. Congratulations.
For?
Those New York Giants. You've been a long-suffering fan for years, and I know you're in your glory right now. Good job.
You know what? I'll tell you what, that game against the Redskins was one of the best defensive games I've seen in quite a long time.
They played a super game.
Shaw will kick off, successful this time. Postel gathers it in on a line drive, looks to have some room to the right, sidesteps a couple of tackles, and is finally brought down on about the 30-yard line.
And you know when you're a player, Jim, you know you're a player when the crowd holds their breath anytime you get the ball. And that's what was happening there. He just kicked off the Postel line drive. He sort of grabbed it and whatnot. And just a hush came over, wondering what he was going to do.
7 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this first half. Old Bridge out ahead, 28-6. It's been like a machine for Old Bridge. They haven't punted once, Phil.
They haven't punted
every time they have the ball.
They haven't punted in 4 games, Jim.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They haven't punted the ball in 4 games.
That is an amazing statistic. Lanzafama pitches it to Postel, and good tackle.
I'll tell you.
Who was that? Merrigan?
Merrigan, you'd like to see that. One-on-one, mano-y-mano, and Merrigan comes down with the tackle.
Merrigan, a senior who is going to have, I'm sure, an outstanding spring as a baseball player.
Good baseball player.
Yep. And a lot of multi-athletes on this East Brunswick team. I know that Larry Benson is a wrestler, as is Russ Leota.
Yes, Russ, a very good wrestler.
Give this to Barrett, who is nailed by number 66. Who is that? Oh, that's Benson. Okay.
And Benson, you're right, is a very, very good wrestler.
Wasn't playing at the beginning of the season.
Wasn't playing at the beginning. Came sort of halfway down the season, and he's contributed since he's come on board.
Right. Larry Benson, I believe he's a junior.
And you see
another timeout. DeMarco uses his final timeout.
And I'll tell you why they got the timeouts there. We want to give off our hats off to the coaches for the Bears. It's been a tough year, and I talked to Marcus about that last night. But Nick Spadafino, the defensive coordinator, Tony Toto, the offensive coordinator, Brett Charleston, wide receivers coach, Joe Shateri, the defensive line coach. And I'll tell you that Marcus said he told his coaches, listen, you know, they know what they're dealing with this year. He says, but we got a lot of young players. You guys got to keep coaching. These young players need to learn. And to their credit, they have, Jim. But anytime you have a season like this, it's tough. I look over at my boys over in South River, and just a very, very tough season for them. But things go in cycles, Jim. And you got to believe both programs will bounce back.
Not anything tougher than what Monroe experienced this year. At least they have a program back. Finished 0-9.
They finished 0-9, Jim, but your point is at least they have a program back.
Well, their junior varsity
on.
finished 6-2, and the freshmen, I believe, were 5-2. So things are looking up for the Falcons. But we're looking at East Brunswick here in Old Bridge. And Lanza Fama on a 3rd and 10. Keeps it himself, advances the ball, and he is through.
Wow.
It's going to be up to Pleasant, who is not going to catch him.
He's pulling away.
And Lanza Fama is going to be putting it in for a 70-yard touchdown run, his 2nd TD of the day.
Jim, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks for Old Bridge run that wishbone, and I'll tell you, just looking at Lanza Fama today and whatnot, he's running the wishbone as well as anybody. Of course, I don't think anybody could ever run it as well as Walsh did for Old Bridge, but he's a close second there. He's running extremely well.
You're right about that. Old Bridge has had a tremendous number of quality quarterbacks through the years, and that's what Bob DeMarco looks for. Somebody who's heady, can make that pitch. Lanza Fama is going to kick it, and he boots it off to the right. Look at that ball fall before the end line.
Let me ask you a question, Jim. I don't know who they have as a backup for quarterback here, but do you want to take a kid like a Postel, and maybe make him the quarterback?
Good question.
And I mean, the more you have the ball in your hands, the quality of a player like Postel and whatnot,
right?
The more it can only help your team. Do you want to take a kid like that and place him at quarterback to run the controls? The wishbone is not an easy offense to master, Jim.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think it makes any difference who you throw in quarterback.
Quarterback with the backs that they have.
Yeah, exactly. They are just a terrific team. And I agree with you. I kind of wish that Old Bridge had an opportunity to start the season over just to see how well they could do. You mentioned Walsh from that 1988 team, who I maintain is the best high school team I've ever seen play. 11-0. They just blitzed through everybody, including our own East Brunswick Bears here.
That's right. And speaking of Walsh, his dad had high school field named after him.
Yes,
Huey Walsh Field?
Yeah, it's the UP Walsh Field at Monroe Township High School. Huey retiring after 33 years. A good friend of yours and mine.
A real good friend of mine. Great guy.
And Scholl takes that kickoff and steps out of bounds on a 25-yard line. So East Brunswick will have another opportunity to see what they can do. They scored the last time they had possession.
And speaking of Huey Walsh, when you get right down to it, the forerunner of the wishbone for Middlesex County was Huey Walsh.
That's correct.
At South River.
Yes.
Took all sorts of abuse for bringing the wishbone to South River.
Yeah.
But now it's used over. Spots would use it. Spots would use it. A lot of teams are using the wishbone now.
There's another team that's you got to give congratulations to Bob Dougherty, the first-year coach from Spotswood, who had his team in the playoffs. That was the first time that Spotswood had made the playoffs, Phil, since 1980.
Wow.
When they played your South River Rams.
17 years. That's saying something.
Cosentino will throw it. Lofts it down the middle. American's behind everybody, but that ball just sort of sailed away.
It took off a little bit. Cosentino did a good job to have it in range there.
Boy,
Postel covering.
Cosentino just was effortless with that throw. He really was. That was a great pass.
As I said, if you're on a team that had more, that could give him more time and whatnot, we know the young fella has an arm, a real nice arm, as a matter of fact. And hopefully next year he's going to have the chance to fully develop it.
And as we move around the rest of the Greater Middlesex Conference talking about various teams, I think we have to give congratulations to John P. Stevens. J.P. Stevens is back in the Central Jersey Group 4 final.
What a story, Jim. And
yeah, that's a terrific turnaround.
Well, there's something.
Pleasant.
Oh, mercy.
With a errant pass is able to get on top of it. That was a pitch from Cosentino that just took off on him.
And I tell you, if you read the story about J.B. Stevens, the young Bears can learn something from that. They were a freshman team that went 6-1-1, and they were getting beat up the varsity, and they committed themselves.
Right.
Committed themselves to working to be a good team. Of course, it helps that they had horses. They got more speed than any team I've seen this year.
Oh, terrific.
That helps a lot, but they also worked in the weight rooms and did what they had to do to commit themselves to be good by the time their senior year came around.
It is 3rd and about 20, let's call it, for East Brunswick. Cosentino under center. And it drops back. And there's a side pass.
Ooh,
we have a flag. But
I'll tell you.
on that quickly was number 99. That was Justin Daly, who is 6'3", 215. And
Just swatted it down.
he looks like a player, doesn't he?
Whew.
Now let's check this flag out. We haven't had too many. It was thrown. It was a legal procedure. I'm sure it will be refused by Old Bridge, bringing up a 4th down for East Brunswick.
And some of these people playing their last game, of course, Captain Anthony Alexander, Jim, again, has put in a fine effort this year. It's been very tough for him to, I'm sure, to have the season end up like it has. But here's another guy that's worked hard all year round.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we will have a 4th down kicked by Scholl, I'm sure.
Yeah. Another guy that's gone not playing, Jim, out with gallbladder is Darren Wickberg. Came over from Cedarville and just a super player, and ended up his senior year.
Okay, and I hope, Phil, you can mention all these players. Great kick by Scholl, goes over top of Postel, who is going to pick it up, and he's almost through the first wave, and if he had gotten through, he would have been off to the races.
Once again, American, I believe, on the tackle.
Right. So that kick with the wind sailed. Let's see. I think that Scholl was backed up on his 5-yard line. So it's kicked down to the 30. So you can imagine so a lot of yards on that one.
It's a fine kick, and Scholl is another senior that the Bears are going to miss. Kevin Scholl, 27. I think he's had about as solid as year
Yes, he has.
as anybody out there, Jim. He's been a utility guy that's done anything the coaches have asked of him.
There is 4:48 left to go in the second quarter. It is 34-6 Old Bridge, and they are looking for more. Lanzafama pitches to Postel, who just gathered that ball in before he was nailed. So we're going to have a loss on this play.
Okay, the one time it appeared to be out of sync where Lanzafama lost his cool a little bit. And they're fortunate to get the ball back.
Second and 11 for Old Bridge. East Brunswick up tight. Barrett, tackle missed, another one. And Barrett gets about 5 yards on the play. Will advance the ball up to the 34-yard line, making it 3rd, and let's call it 6 yards to go.
And some of those other seniors, one of my favorite, Jim, is Russ Leota.
Okay.
Tough kid. Russ is going to have a super year of wrestling this year because he's one of the fine wrestlers in Middlesex County. Went to defense as asked by his coaches and whatnot, and has done a good job there. 160-pound fullback originally, but just one of the tougher guys and just a likable kid. He's going to be missed.
3rd and 7. Old Bridge has yet to punt, and Postel skirts the outside, but
tackle.
a fine tackle.
I'll tell you.
And that was a good one by McCloskey. Tommy McCloskey,
I'll tell you,
a sophomore, 5'5", 133 pounds.
One of the fastest kids that you'll find in the total Bears system there. And Tommy McCloskey just does everything at one speed there. Just a super kid and just a super hit right there.
Give me a player that can...
Give me a player that wants to hit.
Wants to hit like that, and I'll take my chances. So this is the fourth down. They will not punt. Yes, they will. That's Postel.
Quick kick, and it's
blocked. Picked up by an Old Bridge player.
And the Bears will take over.
And not enough for a first down, so East Brunswick has about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the second quarter to see what they can do. They have the ball on Old Bridge's 38-yard line. Score is 34-6. That punt was the first time that Old Bridge has elected.
In 5 games, that's the first punt that Old Bridge has attempted. That tells you something about how well their offense has been going.
That tells everything. All right, Costantino in the shotgun formation. You've got players spread all over the place. Ryan could run the ball, and I'll tell you what, he was close to that line.
Oh, great a catch! What a catch!
And they say it's a touchdown by Shull. And
mercy!
I'll tell you what, he was really close to the line of scrimmage on that play.
End zone, in line, but what a catch. Nothing but hands by Kevin Shaw. We talked about the senior who's probably been as steady as any player who's been this year, Jim.
You bet.
And a fine pass by Costantino, but what a catch by Shaw.
I didn't know what to look at. I thought Costantino was going to run the ball, and all of a sudden he pulls up and lashes out a 38-yard pass to Shaw and makes the score now 34-12.
Bears still fighting.
Yes, they are, and that's what we were looking for.
That's what we're looking for, and they're going for 2 right here, Jim.
Let's see who gets it. And
Costantino using his strength. Oh, almost got out of it.
And there's a fumble on that play, and only in college can you advance it. So the extra point is no good. I'll tell you what, Costantino took a shot there. Let's take a look at him, see how he is. Look how he's holding himself, Phil. I don't know.
He's a tough kid, Jim. He looks like he's shaking it off to me. I'll tell you this, though, but just a picture-perfect pass by Ryan Costantino. We've talked about his arm and talked about what can happen if he has time. That ball couldn't be placed any place else other than where it was. Just a perfect pass and a super catch by Shull.
I'll tell you what, I feel good for these kids in that they're demonstrating to themselves, if nobody else, that they do have heart, and regardless of the competition and the score, they're playing well, and they're playing with commitment, and I think that'll bode well for them.
That's for sure.
Okay, with the score 34-12, 2 minutes and 31 seconds left to go, and with all this scoring, this has been a rather long half. It's been over an hour so far.
And that's unusual with a wishbone offense, Jim, but we've had our share of passing thrown in here as well. But a few more of those seniors. Matt Aronowitz, Jim, who's played very solid all year as well. We want to certainly wish him well. He's
still missing some people on the kickoff team here.
He's a senior, and you got Mark Begay as well, who switched over to tight end for the good of the team and has had some very bright moments himself, and this being his last game.
Shull with a line drive to Postel, who takes it. And they got a little bit of a wedge here. Brings it up to the 41-yard line. Lanzavama is on the kickoff team as a blocker.
Wow.
All righty, the Knights will start once again. And here we go. And it looks like they're coming. And a little bit, I'll tell you what, a little bit intensity from that East Brunswick defense that I was missing before.
A score has a way of doing that, Jim. It says we can play with you and whatnot, and so they tend to get up, and you're right, they're putting their nose in there a little bit more. You'd like to see that.
That was a 5-yard gain for Barrett, who was the ball carrier on that play, making it 2nd and 5. We're just about at the 2-minute mark, where Old Bridge leads 34-12 on this Thanksgiving Day game. Glad you can be with us. And we will have a lot more East Brunswick sports as we commence the winter season in a couple of weeks. We have a fine slate of girls and boys basketball. This is Barrett, who has some room. Brought down on about the 40-yard line.
I tell you, just a strong runner Barrett is.
You know, and credit that tackle, by the way, to McCloskey, Phil.
Tommy McCloskey once again, and again, Mark is getting some of those softs in there to gain experience. It's going to pay off for him down the road. Corio, McCloskey, Batwash, Corsal, Nemec.
And hopefully next year, your son.
Hopefully. Ooh,
Great cut there, but we got a flag. I imagine that's going to be either a clip on Old Bridge. Good coverage by East Brunswick. They're going to call a hold. So that will bring the ball back. Phil, how is your son doing, by the way, as far as his rehab?
Justin's doing just fine. He's coming along probably better than can be expected. The doctors are very pleased with his progress. There's the strength in that leg is a lot stronger. So he's doing everything that he's supposed to do to get ready. First of all, to rehabilitate it to do normal things, and then he'll be getting on his schedule to prepare to play football.
Okay, and we wish him all the best. I know he was one of the key players for that freshman team last year. And with the 10-yard holding penalty, that will bring the ball back to the 49-yard line, where it will be, I believe, 1st and 20. This might be a pass play here. Nope. Barrett will take it. Nice block there, but good coverage by East Brunswick's defense.
Good coverage, good pursuit. And I was just thinking, Jim, the play before where Old Bridge was penalized, a lot of times coaches don't really look at the long runs, the 60-yard runs. If a kid can do breaking the open, and most kids can do that. What they look at is what happens in a 6-yard run there, where Postel gives a leg, takes a leg back, and so forth, and then pushes forward. That's what they really look for.
By the way, Corcel was the tackler on that play. Was a nice one. Now there's some blocking here for Postel. Gets through and gets to about the 40-yard line. We have 20 seconds left to go.
Okay, American and Zukas in on the tackle there.
And they're counting down. Old Bridge not in any hurry.
Along with Begay.
And I don't think they're going to... Nope. I see Bob DeMarco sort of waving his hand saying, let's not do anything. And they'll count down the remaining seconds in this first half. And that will do it. So the score at halftime, Old Bridge comfortably ahead 34 over East Brunswick 12. It was a half where Old Bridge pretty much did what it wanted to, but let's give credit to East Brunswick to score against this, what you said was a tough Old Bridge defense.
A tough Old Bridge defense that has only given up 19 points in the last 4 games. Here the Bears have 12 points, and clearly they show that they're battling, Jim, and you like to see that.
All right, so we are going to take a break here for a moment. The score, East Brunswick down 34-12. We'll be back with the second half in just a moment. right, we are back.
I'll tell you, Jim, nice job by the East Brunswick band there.
Okay. And as I was saying, we are back following a rather entertaining halftime by the East Brunswick band that Phil alluded to. Their concluding performance of the football season. And we look at, again, all the seniors from both teams out to talk about their options, and I imagine East Brunswick will probably take the win this time.
Well, the good news is, yeah, starting out this quarter, the Bears will have the win.
Okay, if you're just joining us,
at their back.
Old Bridge leads 34-12. They jumped out to actually a 28-0 lead, and then East Brunswick scored to make it 28-6. Old Bridge came back to lead 34-6, and East Brunswick, with about 2 minutes to go in second quarter, scored its second touchdown. A nice Cosentino pass to Kevin Scholl, making it 34-12 where we stand right now. So East Brunswick, with that election, will kick off, I imagine. Old Bridge will receive. That will be Mr. Postel, who has 2 touchdowns. Lanza Fama has scored twice. And let's see, Barrett has the other touchdown.
Okay. Lanza Fama showing a little smarts there. The official's hat blew off, Jim. And Lanza Fama went and picked it up and handed it to him. Not a bad move.
Kevin Scholl will kick off, and a line drive caught by number 4.
That's Kevin Cinnamon. Semino.
And advances it up to the 45-yard line. That kind of backfires on East Brunswick. You want to take advantage of the wind as much as you can.
It may be just as well, rather, getting it into one of the deep players' hands, Jim.
That's true. So we begin the second half of play. A lot of the crowd still here, even though it looks kind of doubtful for East Brunswick. Postel. And I see a little bit of vigor by that East Brunswick defense. They certainly have not thrown in the towel, that's for sure.
I'll tell you, McCluskey's still coming up again. Didn't wrap that time, but made the initial hit on Postel.
And we have called his number a lot this afternoon.
Tommy McCluskey.
Not big, we mentioned, only 133 pounds, but certainly is getting his face in there. 2nd and 9 for the Knights. Lanza Fama keeps it. No, I'm sorry. Gave to his first back. That probably was Barrett. And it is yes, it is Barrett. Gets 4 yards on the play, making it 3rd and 6.
And Barrett, just his second game back after an injury, Jim. So
yeah,
he's looking rather durable right now.
You got to wonder how much motivation Old Bridge is going to have here, Phil, with this comfortable lead.
Well, you talk about seniors. That's what you do. And you talk about, listen, we want to complete the game.
Barrett steps inside, but he is stopped. And a good pursuit by East Brunswick's defense there. Denies Barrett that first down, making it 4th, and it looks to me like about 4 yards to go. Gotta wonder.
And McManus again up there making one of the early hits, Jim.
Against this win, I doubt if Old Bridge is going to punt. And they will go for it. Ball is just inside the 50-yard line in East Brunswick territory. Timeout again, yes. They do like to use their timeouts.
That's for sure. And here comes Bob DeMarco. Been around a long time. I don't know, it's 21 years at
1979 was when Bob became coach of Old Bridge. I remember it very well, coming from a one-year stint in a New York City high school, having spent a lot of time at Terrytown High School. Nobody knew too much about him. And he brought in that wishbone and has had a remarkable career and is really one of the deans of Middlesex County football coaching, and a tremendous fellow as well.
And he does still coaches, I suppose, lacrosse for Rutgers as well.
No, I don't think he does anymore, Phil.
Okay. He must have given it up last year then, Jim.
Right. Okay, 4th and 3, and Postel will take it and gets around, and he will have the first down. Runs out of bounds at about the 35-yard line.
Okay, and Russ Leota running them out, doing a good job there.
So they do pick up the first down and advance the ball down to the, let's see where they mark it, just about on the 36-yard line. 9 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in this last half of the 1997 season. And unless East Brunswick can do something, they will finish 1-8, which will, again, probably be a record for losses. Postel moves ahead for about a 3-yard gain. We haven't called number 32 often, Leota, but I'll tell you what, he's been in there on a lot of plays.
Leota doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of tackles, but he's in there.
Yeah.
He's always in there. He gets a piece of a player and so forth.
Zukas as well, Phil. He's been the middle linebacker.
Right.
Keeps it, and
He's slammed.
tell you what, much better pursuit by this East Brunswick defense this half.
Okay, Leota coming up with the tackle there, Jim, and the defense is doing a good job.
And you see little sequences like this, Phil, and you wonder if East Brunswick could maintain this level of play.
If they could sustain it, and
yeah,
good, you know.
We've seen glimpses throughout the entire season of this team playing up to its capability, but yet it is an emotional game. So we have 3rd and 7. Postel inside, loses the ball. Let's see who has it. And apparently he recovers his own fumble. And he's going to be just about at that marker for a first down.
I'll tell you, Zukas and Joe Couture on the tackle there. And Postel gave it up, but as you said, the Knights were able to recover it.
All right, so looks to be about a yard short, maybe 2 yards. So it'll bring up another 4th down for Old Bridge. Ball's resting on the 27-yard line. They need to get to just about the 26 for a first down. Oh, some movement there. Postel does have enough for the first down, but I believe that there was
some movement.
Illegal procedure on Old Bridge. That's the call.
And once again, running right at Couture again. Couture is one of those seniors that playing his last game. And Couture in on the last 2 plays there, Jim.
Okay. 5-yard penalty. He's going to bring it back to the 33-yard line. So we're going to still have a 4th down. And you talked about that wind slowing down, Phil.
No,
it's back.
It's back. You're right.
Ball's on the 33-yard line, 4th and 7.
And most teams might pass. The Knights won't pass here. They'll stay in a traditional wishboning.
Up the pipe to Barrett, and he's going to be stopped short. So East Brunswick does hold.
I'll tell you, they did the job there, Jim, and you got to like it. Coming out at the first series in the 3rd period there, and the Bears showing some resolve there, playing rather tough.
So you like what you see there from the East Brunswick defense. And so Cosentino will start at quarterback as he has all season long. East Brunswick with a wide split. He is back to pass, looks to Merrigan, finds him, and the senior Merrigan drops out of bounds on about the 38-yard line.
Chris Tooney, number 7, making a tackle for the Knights.
Gain of 7 on the play, let's call it. So it is a 2nd and 3.
And
Cosentino pitches to Pleasant. And he is nailed, but still maintains his feet.
Picks up the first down.
Still on his feet. And finally brought down, but not after he gets a gain of about 7 yards and a first down, and that was a fine run.
I'll tell you, all Brad Pleasant there, Jim. He got nailed, as you said, about 2 yards into the line of scrimmage there. Spun off that, kept those legs going, spun again, and picked up some good yardage. It's most important, that first down. Good run.
So East Brunswick with a little bit of inspiration to begin this second half. They are down 34-12. Cosentino drops back to pass, fires it, and caught. No, ball was dropped. It was in the arms of Scholl. Number 21. That was Pasva. Pass was there. Now we have a flag on the play. Let's see what this call is. Calling a personal foul on East Brunswick.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure. Marcus Borden with his arms spread wide, wondering what that was all about. And that's what the call's going to be.
Let's see if we can see, Jim.
Whew.
That hurt. Joe Pasva, the senior, almost came up with a nice catch. They're just saying personal foul, not giving any other indication, Jim.
Phil, got to tell you, the last number of plays I've been watching, a lot of activity going on in the interior of the line. Maybe they just happen to catch somebody with a, with a wrong forearm shiver. Nonetheless, that penalty makes it first down and about 22, let's call it. Cosentino, they're coming, and Pleasant catches it. And he's ahead of the field, still on his feet, and brings it all the way down to the 38-yard line. That was a good call there, a screen pass.
I'll tell you, screen pass. Pleasant had his back turned. You thought he was going to get hit, and somehow he got out of it. And if you're Marcus Borden, Brad is one of the Pleasant returnees for next year. So,
really, not all that big. 5'3", 147 pounds, but he's a spark plug.
He is a spark plug.
First down for East Brunswick. Ball is on the 38-yard line. They have been a decidedly improved team here in the second half. Cosentino is going to throw it long. Who's out there? Scholl.
And Scholl had two defenders on him.
There was a lot of people out there.
Well, you had two receivers in that area there, so they brought the defenders over, Jim.
Phil, you got to wonder with a lot going long. I think something underneath would work very well for East Brunswick. There was a lot of room there.
They did have a lot of room there, and usually I was surprised they sent several players deep. You're right, Jim, but they could have sent the one player deep and sent another one underneath. And they may come back with that. Let's watch and see.
All righty. Second down and 10. East Brunswick hoping to make this game more interesting than what it is right now. He is sacked this
Swarmed
time.
under, I tell you.
They were coming. And that's the difficulty with an expected passing situation. So there's a loss of about 3 on the play.
Okay, Mike Malthall, number 12, in on the tackle there.
Makes it a third down and 13. East Brunswick is in 2-down territory, so.
And Pleasant on the sideline right now.
And again, that line is coming. It really opens it up for a screen pass.
And 4 receivers here.
Now we have a shotgun. There's a pass complete.
Wow.
And there goes, who is that, Merrigan? Fine play.
I'll tell you, well, they had 4 receivers spread out, nobody in the backfield to block, Jim, so it had to be something quick.
Boy, that worked really well.
And the quick hit the American, and
who advances it all the way down to about the 17.
Boy, he showed some good speed right there.
I'll say. I had blinks. Who was that? All right, another first down for the Bears. It's their, I believe, 4th one.
I'll tell you, they're on the move here, Jim. They've come out the second half and clearly have outplayed the Knights thus far, defensively and offensively.
Cosentino now under center. Drops back.
It pumps.
Looks one way, and he's going to put it in the end zone. American's open.
Oh,
just out of his
I'll tell
arms.
you, trying to worry about going out of the end zone there, Jim. And,
Yeah, that was the thing.
And trying to keep his feet in bounds and just sort of pulled up a little bit short of catching the ball there.
All right. The incomplete pass makes it 2nd down and 10. East Brunswick has it on Old Bridge's 18, I think. And for a sustained offense, this is about as good as East Brunswick has looked today. They've been able to quick hit a couple times for some touchdowns, but it's a pretty looking drive.
You got to believe it's got to be a slant in here, Jim.
Okay. Here comes Old Bridge. And ball is batted away.
And
intercepted. Who is that? Number 12.
Mike Maffel.
All right. And that drive comes to conclusion. And Old Bridge takes over.
I'll tell you, the Bears had such good position there. And again, it looked like some sort of screen. Again, the Knights blowing in there, coming in with their hands up and blocked the pass, Jim.
Well, that interception by 6 foot, 165-pound senior Mike Maffel snuffs that drive. And Old Bridge will take over. 4:42 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Lanzafama keeps it himself up the middle. Gets good yards.
I'll tell you, drags a few people.
Advances the ball in the East Brunswick territory. Gain of, let's call it 6 on the play, making it 2nd and 4. We haven't had any scoring in the 3rd quarter.
Well, you got this wide side here. The left side is usually Postel comes around here, Jim. Let's see if they do it.
Lanzafama pitch to Postel, who is caught behind the line of scrimmage.
I'll tell you.
Good pursuit by Matt Zukas.
Matt Zukas, a nice job there. Postel trying to go around that left-hand side there.
And once again, Old Bridge finds itself in a 3rd and long situation. This is something that was not happening to them in the first half, Phil.
And again, 3rd and long. Most teams will pass here, Jim. But they'll stay in a wishbone.
I don't think they put the ball up in the air, have they?
No, they haven't.
Okay. Lanzafama keeps it himself. Gets close to the 1st down marker.
Not quite, Jim. So
about a yard short, let's say. So it's 4th and 1.
4th and 1, and my best guess is that you're going to see Barrett right up the middle.
All right. Let's see who we got here. Was that Postel?
That's Barrett.
That was Barrett, okay.
Yeah.
And they do get the 1st down. So the ball rests on the 40-yard line. And unfortunately, we do not have statistics, but I can imagine that Old Bridge has a heck of a lot of 1st downs. Yeah, they have just been churning it up.
A lot of yardage. Counter.
And they stop him pretty
nice
well.
Stop, I tell you.
Yeah. That was Postel, the ball carrier. And
let's see, number.
They pretty much have him lassoed down this half.
And Matt Arano, it's on the tackle there. Another senior, his last game here. Matt, doing a fine job there.
Just 1 yard gain on the play. And I don't know what went on in the locker room at halftime, Phil, but I'll tell you what, this is definitely a different East Brunswick team.
They're playing better, no doubt about it.
Lanzafama keeps it.
Ooh.
And hit hard. Gets about 6 on the play.
And that's Tom Corio, a sophomore, coming in with a hard tackle there.
We are down to 1:40 left in the 3rd quarter. It is still 34-12 in favor of Old Bridge. This Thanksgiving game will be the last for the 1997 seniors.
Okay.
3rd and 4. Pitch to Postel, who dances around the left side, but is caught nicely, and that was a good effort by McCloskey as well as
number 38.
Was it 38 or 36? That's 36, Phil.
Okay.
That was
Aranowitz. But McCloskey, Tommy coming up once again.
Right.
Not necessarily making a tackle, but putting the hit on and slowing him down.
Okay. So that's a loss on the play. Brings it back to the 35, making it 4th and 5. They need to get to the 30-yard line for a first down. Lanzafama keeps it, pitches now to Barrett, who is on the outside and does get enough for the first down.
Okay, Zook is coming over.
Boy, I tell you what,
with
tough to defend. It really is. And the way you do defend it is precisely the way they did it the last time when McCloskey penetrated, and that caused the ball carrier to go outside to make the tackle.
Well, each player, they have assignments, Jim, in trying to defend the wishbone. It's just calls for a lot of discipline now.
It really does. And you got to get penetration across the line. So another first down for Old Bridge, about their 50th, I would think. Up the pipe to Barrett. Gets about 4 on the play.
The Knights are just willing to ground it out, Jim. They don't mind. They're not picking up a lot. They're not picking up the big yards right now, but they are moving.
And this 4th quarter is going to come to a close rather quickly. And that is it. So the score after 3 quarters of play, Old Bridge still ahead, 34-12. That was the score at halftime. Phil, do you have some seniors you want to mention at all?
Well, we mentioned most of them. Chris Gambeau, of course, number 72 to 280-pound tackle. I think his best years may be ahead of him. He may develop better on another level. Tom Crowell, who's been the center, who's been solid all year for a number of years now, and who's played well. I mentioned Brian Monetta, who's just been outstanding as far as I'm concerned, and of course there's Brian Merrigan as well.
That touchdown pass.
But I think we've talked about most of the seniors, Jim.
All right, and the parents of the players had an opportunity to walk out before the game onto the field, and that is a nice tradition that's been established here at East Brunswick, as in other sports as well.
Of course, you had the trainer, of course, Sherry Stein and Allison Budnar, and then managers Gil Combe and Dawn Lamini.
Something like that. We apologize, Dawn.
But
all right, and regardless of teams' records, when you're a senior and you're a high school senior, it pretty much is the end of the road as far as your football career is concerned.
For a lot of kids, unfortunately, it is not a whole lot go on from a graduating team to the next level. It's very difficult, but you can't beat the high school years regardless of what your record is. You don't forget them.
That's correct. Okay. This is Lanzafama, and it looks like they're going to pass, and boy, I'll tell you what, Postel was open.
The first pass, Postel had to wait for the ball. And that's the nature of this team like the Knights there. We've seen all sorts of situations where you would think they would be passing, and they've been true to the wishbone.
Yeah.
And then they change the quarters here and come up with something as simple as that, where Postel had to basically wait for the pass.
That's his 3rd touchdown, Postel, and I'll tell you what, it would be interesting if Old Bridge passes no more. Their only pass of the day is a touchdown pass. Lanzafama, though, with a decidedly better wind in his back, puts it through to make it 41-12. Now, that was the first touchdown of the second half, and that touchdown pass covering about, 27 yards from Lanzafama, coming in the first play of the 4th quarter. 11:53 left to go.
So, Jim, some of the teams that are around for playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's interesting. As I said, Stevens, again, has been really the story of the year, I guess.
And also, Saraville will be playing. They'll be hosting Ocean Township in the Central Jersey Group 3 bracket, and Franklin, I believe, will be playing who? I'm not sure, but Saraville's still alive. So the GMC is well represented, the GMC Red Division. Nice kick by Postel. Pleasant lets it go into the end zone. And East Brunswick will begin on its own 20-yard line. Bright sunshine today, despite this wind. And Costantino trots out to the field. And it'll be a little bit more difficult going against this wind, Phil.
Well, he goes with the shorter ones, Jim.
Yeah. Pitches to Pleasant, who gives it on a reverse. And they got room here.
Oh, wow. They need a block.
That's Merrigan on the block. And they get around him. Shull.
And Kevin Shull has done it all today. And I tell you, the Bears pulling out the stops. I talked about some trick plays before, and here comes with the reverse. And they picked up some nice downfield blocking there, Jim.
All right. So with that advance all the way to the 50-yard line, it's a 30-yard gain for Shull, who has really had an outstanding game today, Phil.
Definitely has.
Costantino is back to pass, looking for Merrigan, and that is a floater.
Oh.
Merrigan tries to come back and catch it.
He almost came back for it, Jim.
Well, with the fourth quarter, the band is now back from refreshments, so the octane is back, and we have to shout a little bit louder.
That's that war song, Jim.
Something to that effect. All right, with the incomplete pass, it makes it second down for East Brunswick. Ball is on the 50-yard line, 11:33 left in the game. Four receivers for East Brunswick. Pleasant the lone back. Excuse me, that's Shull. And that's that pass play where they have, I can see it.
He fakes throwing back.
He's going to throw it. And a fumble on the play. Who's going to get it?
I think the Bears recovered.
And looks like they're pointing in Old Bridge direction. Somehow Shaw lost the handle. I don't think he was hit by anybody.
What happened there is they tried the fake pass like it was downfield. It looked like it was coming back to the other end, and that was sealed off, and Shaw had to take off. Unfortunately, ended up with the fumble there.
All right, so Old Bridge will take over.
And a timeout for the Knights, Jim.
They're second.
I'll tell you, Jim, we got a few Bears alumni, graduates who are still playing football, Jim. You got Tom Ruja, who is with the College of New Jersey, formerly Trenton State College, and
right.
He's about to go into...
well, they already won their first playoff game against Portland State. And that was a 30-0 victory, I believe, over them. And now they will be playing Rowan College for the, not New Jersey championship, but it's going to be like the Eastern Finals.
Okay.
And if they win that game, then they move on to the Final Four, so to speak.
Well, it's nice to see. He was a heck of a nose guard. Then, of course, you got Greg Kolheim and Dave Kilkenny, who's playing for Nassau Junior College, and both of them are involved in the playoffs as well. So it's nice to see.
Okay, Old Bridge will start out now after having recovered that fumble. And is Lanzafama still in there? Yes, he is. No, I'm sorry. There is a new quarterback in for Old Bridge. That's number 7, Tinney. And he is the heir apparent, Phil.
Well, let's see then. Chris Tinney, 6'1", 180, and he's a junior.
Right. He is the heir apparent to Lanzafama.
So perhaps that answers the question who the quarterback would be.
We were asking the Old Bridge people who would take over for Lanzafama, because this is such a special team for next year.
And you're right. With Postel and Barrett in the backfield, doesn't make much difference, does it?
We'll see. There's all new faces in there. Tinney takes it himself.
That's a quarterback keep, and he gets and he picks up a yard or two.
Yes, he does. Let's call it 3rd down and 5 yards to go for Old Bridge. That's Tinney on the keeper and still on his feet, but finally brought down.
Okay, and Old Bridge has an all-new backfield there. Also in the backfield is Larry Pertuzza, number 42, 5'8", 160, and let's see who else they have there.
Well, let's give Ted Nemec credit for that tackle for East Brunswick.
Teddy Nemec, all right. Teddy Nemec, just a sophomore himself, and one of the up-and-comer players for the Bears of that super sophomore team, and I think that JV team that went 6-1-1, I believe.
All right. And Old Bridge will punt, so this is the 3rd time that they punted this game after having gone 4 without punting at all. Tinney is the one that lofts that up. Nice kick. Fumbled by McCluskey. And boy, I'll tell you what.
Just a bad break.
Yeah.
Got up there, and Tommy has played a super game defensively.
Nick Kuchera on that fumble recovery for Old Bridge.
All game, and that ball just bounced off. Your hands are a little cold at this time, Jim.
And I think it's just inexperience, Phil. The wind's whipping that ball around, and the velocity is different. It's just a different ball game out there. So that fumble recovery by Old Bridge, another turnover by East Brunswick, puts it down to the 12-yard line. And the band plays on regardless of the situation.
And that is Kevin Semino on the carry.
Right. Gain down to the 8-yard line. Tinney gives to Semino, who's racked up.
Okay, and pulled back. And Corsal leading the charge there.
Okay. A lot of new faces in there for East Brunswick. BC number 68, Joe Belisano, another sophomore, Phil.
Right, you're going to see a lot of these kids are guys of the future there. And,
I see Coutura, who's a senior. Third and 5. They need to get to about the 3-yard line for a 1st down. Flag on the play.
I'll tell you, good defense.
Let's see what the call is here.
Legal procedure, the Knights.
All right, that'll bring the ball back 5 yards. Still making it 3rd down. Batwash is in there as well.
Another sophomore, and I'll tell you, these guys are going to make the difference in the future, Jim.
That we would hope.
And they don't want the Knights to score. They're going to do everything they can to keep these guys out of the end zone.
Koenigsberg is also in there for East Brunswick. And just a new cast. Tinney keeps it himself and is not going to find any running room there. So that no gain on the play will make it 4th down on about the 10-yard line. Again, Old Bridge needs to get to about the 2 or 3-yard line for a 1st. We are down to 7:20 left to go in the game. The score is 41-12 in favor of Old Bridge. Most of the scoring in this 1st half. We have but 1 score in the 2nd half for Old Bridge. So this is a 4th down play. And they do not look like they're going to pass here. I don't know. Flag thrown. Our referee, Ken Totten, is going to call delay of game.
Well, you got new bodies in there, Jim, and young guys, and they're starting to make some mistakes for the Knights right now.
Yeah. Ball now is on the 17-yard line. You would think this would be a passing situation for the Knights, who have only thrown once, and that was for a touchdown. Semino, though, takes it around left end and is not going to find enough room, so East Brunswick holds once again.
Nice job by the young Bears. Nice job. They didn't want them to score there after giving them that good field position in there.
And this crowd is starting to disperse.
Oh, it's turkey time, Jim.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've seen some strange things, Jim.
What is that all about?
Brian O'Mara just walked into the stands. He's walking back out of the stands right now, but it's been a tough year for Marcus Borden, and a lot of strange things have happened. And
all righty, let's see here now.
Apparently they continue.
There is a timeout on the field, and that was called by East Brunswick.
I'll tell you, Jim.
I'd like to give my thanks to Pete Catamessa and Dave Ambrosi for their usual fine work.
I'll tell you, our on-site engineers.
Adverse conditions. Never complained once. They complained about 10 times. Okay, here we go. And new quarterback in there for East Brunswick.
I think that might be
Who is that?
McCluskey, is it?
Possibly. And it looks like they're just wanting to get this game over with. It's about 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to go.
Yes, it is. Tommy McCluskey at quarterback right now.
Let's call it 2nd and 10. Ball is about on the 15-yard line.
McCluskey
Pitch
keeps pitches.
to Pleasant. Oh, let's see. Are they going to call a clip on that? Nope. I guess the tackle was already made. And that ball is advanced to about the 30-yard line. Bringing up a 3rd and 5.
Fumble.
And there is a fumble picked up by McCluskey, who's dragged down and for naught. And that'll bring up a 4th down. East Brunswick will be in a punting situation. This is going to be a tough kick.
Okay, Andrew Batwash, you notice also coming off the field, is in there as well.
4th and 5, and they're going to go for it. No, I'm sorry, they're not. Back to punt is number 82. That's Yanazzo.
That's Yanazzo.
Yeah, you said he wasn't going to play.
I didn't think he was going to play with the bad shoulder, but
they're going to give him an opportunity. Got a flag on the play.
Probably delay a game.
Well, if it was, they would have called the whistle already, Phil. They would have stopped the play.
Let's see.
I'd say more on a legal procedure.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, and that's what Kenny Totten says. So I would think that Old Bridge would want to refuse this penalty. They will get good field position, and that is exactly what happens. So with 4:37 left in this game, and you see some of the East Brunswick seniors seated over here on the left. It looks like it's been pretty much determined that the younger kids are going to play the rest of the game. And so they are seated. Peter, I wonder if we can get a shot here at some opportunity on the bench here of all the seniors gathered around. We'll get that in a second. 1st down for Old Bridge. Mr. Tinney at quarterback. Keeps it up. No, pitches to Semino, who tries to get around.
Oh, a great tackle.
Good pursuit there. I believe that was Pleasant, one of the tacklers, and McCloskey the other.
Coming up, I like that.
Yes, indeed. Loss of 2 on the play. And there you see the East Brunswick seniors.
And it's been a rough year for the seniors.
Yeah. And they're consoling each other, talking to each other, and I think most of them realize that their high school careers are over now, and will probably hit them a little bit more after Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, back to the play. 4 minutes left to go. Tinney gives it off to somebody. That was Semino again, and he gets nothing. So it'll bring up a 3rd and 14. By the way, we forgot to mention that Tom Crail is a heavyweight wrestler too. So we'll be looking forward to seeing him play.
Okay.
His high school career is not yet over. Give up the middle. That was to number 41, Dan Vandervalk. Gets good yardage, but not enough for a first down, so it's 4th and 7.
And again, once
wait a minute, they're pointing this way. It looks to be there was a fumble on that play.
Turnover, so it's the Bears' ball.
All right, so East Brunswick will take over. I'm sorry, we did not get who recovered that fumble for East Brunswick. I was looking down at my program here to catch who the ball carrier was, and it must have happened that time. And I don't know if it's my imagination or not, but that clock seems to be moving awful quickly. There's 3 minutes and 7 seconds left, and I think it was 4:07 the last time I looked. Okay, McCloskey at quarterback, and he has it.
I'll tell you, Tommy's showing good speed there. Picks up about 7 yards.
And if I didn't know any better, if Ken Top was in the booth, I'd say that was him that did that. But anyway. A gain of 8 on the play by Tom McCloskey as the wind continues to whip here. Second and 2. Ball on the 35. Give is up the middle. No. Oh my gosh.
The pitch was
pass
the
to
ride.
number 35. That is Nick Chukiera, who misses his opportunity to get a touchdown.
I'll tell you, Jim, we see it all.
Nick Cucchiera, 6 foot, 175 pound senior, and that could have been his glory right there.
I'll tell you, in the right place at the wrong time.
All right, well, they will look at that play on the film, and McCloskey will find out that that was an ill-advised pitch. So Olbridge with one more opportunity to get it into the end zone. Ball is on the 8-yard line.
Okay, Jim, as you point out on the 8-yard line, they're going to try to take it in here.
I would imagine they're going to try to get some more points. This is the second team. They own nobody anything. All right, number 42 is on that carry, and that is Larry Perusa.
And John Mullane comes up to make the tackle, number 34 for the Bears.
2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go.
And we have a timeout, official timeout.
Why are they doing this?
Well, he's asking, what are you having for Thanksgiving, Joe?
Okay.
And said the usual fixings, he can come over. And okay, I'll be there. Starting the game.
A lot of new faces in right now. Give is up the middle. No, I'm sorry. Tinney with it, battles all the way down,
I'll tell you,
and
nice
he
job.
is just short of the end zone.
A little deft ball handling by Tinney, Chris Tinney there. And
somebody down for East Brunswick. Who is that? Pleasant still has his head in there. And then you can see the ball is almost at the goal line. So they're going to have 2 opportunities to get this ball in. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. It's 1:20. Knowing Bob DeMarco, though, Phil, if he had his choice, he would not choose to score. But you can't stop these kids. And Tinney, does he get it? Yes, he does.
okay, the quarterback of the future.
Number 7, Chris Tinney, puts it in. And that extends the lead, 47-12.
Oh, they just they just got DeMarco with the bucket.
Holy
I'll tell you,
smoke.
they just dumped the Gatorade on them, and
Well,
I guess you got a happy team there, dude.
well, you know, this I think, despite the score, this doesn't take away from what is still a very keen rivalry between these two clubs. And a victory over East Brunswick is always something to be savored by Old Bridge. Kick is up by Lanza-Fama, puts it through, and the score is 48-12 with 1:08 left to go in the game.
Jim, not a whole lot you can say.
Yeah.
Again, that was an opportunistic play by the Knights.
Well, they took it in.
That pitch
They took
off,
it in.
and then they end up taking it in. You're right there.
Well, Mr. Hill, this will bring a conclusion to this year. We have had kind of a tough year ourselves
It's
here
a
with a
tough
couple
year
of
getting games in.
rained
You're right.
out, and
Right.
et cetera. So we missed our opportunity to see this East Brunswick team as much as we wanted to, from this vantage point anyway. And thank you once again for a good season.
Well, Jim, as always, I enjoy it, and I'd like to wish you and your family a happy holiday.
Same to you.
And certainly to all the Bear fans and Knight fans as well.
You bet. So we'll kick it off one more time.
And we have 1:08 8 is that correct?
That is
I'll
correct.
tell you, I still like to see the young Bears do something offensively with that minute left.
That is picked up by who?
McCluskey.
McCloskey, who's seen a lot of action this game.
Just 1 minute left, but they'd like to show some of their offensive wares here if they could.
Okay. And East Brunswick calls timeout.
And I tell you, see Marcus Borden out there on the field, and it has been truly a very difficult year for him.
Yeah.
Forget the record and whatnot. The record speaks for itself on what a tough year it is. But if you speak to Marcus, he'll tell you that off the field and preparing for the year has been very difficult. He's had more things happening with kids than he's ever had before. What he has said is, listen, I will not change my principles. I have principles, I have standards that I expect the youngsters to abide by if they're going to play for East Brunswick. And you got to give him credit. He holds to that. And if he loses some players because of it, so be it. But it's been a tough year for a guy that likes, who's quite a competitor.
All right, we have a resumption of action here. Klosky gave it to, who is that?
That's Mullane, I believe, on the counter there, picking up about 4 yards.
He got more than that. He got about 5.
About 5 yards.
You know, 2nd and 5. 38 seconds left to go. Pitches to Pleasant, who remains in there.
The whirling dervish.
They're going to try to get one more in, perhaps. And Pleasant giving his offensive line some credit for some nice block in there. That was number 68 on that block. Who was Belisano? 20 seconds left to go.
Counter.
We got a flag on the play. Mullane on the carry.
I think there's some movement by the Bears.
That's what it was.
And you hear that wind gusting up, Jim.
Yeah, it really is. And they refused that penalty. Starts the clock.
And this
then.
may be the last play of the game,
Well,
Jim.
I think you're right, Phil. And this will draw the curtain on the 1999 season, and for a lot of East Brunswick fans and players, that probably was a good thing considering the tough year. And that will do it. The final score, Old Bridge 48, East Brunswick 12. East Brunswick finishing the season with a 1-8 record. Old Bridge, meanwhile, 5-4. And you see the players shaking hands out there. And Phil, any final comments? I know we've talked about this for the entire game, but any further comments about the season just concluded?
About the season, it's been a difficult season, but if you're a Bear fan, you got to know that I believe the JV team, I may be wrong, I think they went something like 8-1-1 or 7-1-1, I'm not sure.
Right.
But they're a very solid team, and they're gonna develop and whatnot. It's just stick with the team, and better days are coming.
Well, I echo your sentiments about the commitment that's required. This game of football is so rewarding when it's played the right way, and yet it can be a very difficult experience for the kids. But it is a growing experience, and I'm sure in the future years, as they look back, regardless of the record, they'll be very thankful for playing this great game. So with that, that's going to do it for us. I thank you for joining us this 1997 season. We look forward to you following us along the way as the winter sports season will start in a couple weeks. But for Phil Hill, this is Jim Allinder saying thank you for being with us.